Welcome to the 2025 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday, last Sunday of March 2025 edition. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel or at least hit that like button on the way in as we interpret the latest financial news that has come in this past weekend. Appreciate your support, ladies and gentlemen. And as we continue to all prepare in the face of this economic recession that we could be facing later on this year, we just have to continue to press on. And I think everyone is doing the best that they can in this economy, as bad as it is. So we're going to be talking about the car tariffs, the tariffs on cars, the U.S. car imports. They're going to cause car prices to go up, both used cars and new cars. We're going to be talking about the markets, the Federal Reserve Bank looking to hold rates steady throughout summertime. And that one little rate cut that we may get may not be coming until September or something like that, basically. And now the markets are looking for another safe haven. A lot of them are fleeing toward gold and the precious metals. Some are fleeing toward cryptos as well. We'll talk about that briefly. And charting the global economy. What's next for the U.S. and developed nations as they kind of have a slowdown here approaching here in the next year or so. So let me know what you think in the comments here as we continue on here. It's a beautiful Sunday for most people around the country. Be safe. Get exercise, water, fresh air, makes you pray, and we're definitely going to be okay. So it's going to be getting worse. A quote, according to this article from AOL.com, U.S. car buyers are bracing for sweeping auto tariffs. As you know, the tariffs take effect like April 4th or April 6th. And it's going to take some time for it to filter through this $15 trillion U.S. economy. However, we know that used car prices are not going down. Even, if you get a Hyundai or a Kia, you're still looking at a new one, a brand new one. You're looking at above $25,000. And I'm not even sure if it's fully loaded. You're talking about the basic models here. Same with Toyota, Honda, Fords, Mazdas, you name it. All cars are up, even used cars, new cars. So it's very hard when the average car payment in America is around $850, not including insurance and gas and all these registration and taxes fees that many people have to pay in many states. So many people are hanging on to their cars longer. The average person is hanging on to their car about 12 to 13 years, sometimes 15 years out of it before, it's all you're going to be able to get out of an engine, about 250,000 to about almost 300,000 miles if you take care of it with the maintenance schedule, as you know. So with these tariffs taking effect April the 2nd, April 3rd, let me know how you think you're going to be impacting your spending in terms of vehicles. Now, maybe you're blessed enough to have super public transportation that you don't have to have a car like in New York City or some other place. But still, having a car is important. It's an American way. It's a transportation that you need to take your family around, your friends around, to get from work, church, school, home, play, vacations, activities. America's built on a car. We don't have a high-speed rail system like Europe or anything like that, or Asia that can go, directly to places in a very quick manner. But in the meantime, these cars are going to be going up. Many people from baby boomers to Generation X to millennials to Generation Alpha are looking for their first vehicle or getting a second vehicle, or old hoopty-doo to keep going around town. And they're finding a hard time finding anything that's not. And there's another thing that's a problem too, is a lot of these cars are, have damage outside. Now, hail damage, you can fix that. Some things are not. But these cars have been, a lot of these flood-savage cars. Remember, we had those huge floods we had about a couple years ago in the Midwest, the Mississippi River, and also in the upper Midwest and down south. And so a lot of these cars are flooded out. They're coming back salvaged off the salvage lot. You know what you're getting. So you have to be very careful about that. So Fed Collins, this is Fed Collins here, Federal Reserve President, Boston Fed President Susan Collins here. She says, quote, according to MarketWatch.com, she supports holding interest rates steady for, quote, a longer time. Remember, I just talked about that in the introduction to this video. I believe that the Federal Reserve Bank is going to hold interest rates steady throughout the rest of this year, and they're not going to make but one rate cut, possibly in the September, October timeframe, and that's it. And even that's going to only be 25 basis points. By then, the damage will have been done with this economy. It's going to continue to go on. So the U.S. economic outlook is, quote, cloudy, and the Federal Reserve should be patient about adjusting interest rates. So they want, in other words, they want to save more tools in the toolbox for a later time. But it's obvious that a slowdown is possible with this economy, and that's not always a bad thing. It's just that the economy is restructuring. It's part of the business cycle. We can't stay up forever. We've been up. The stock market has been up the last 13 to 14 to 15 years. It can't go up forever, and there's only so much money in the money supply. There's only so much expansion you can do when it's based on debt and speculation and stuff like that, not actual fundamentals. So that's what people mean by that. And you can see that happening. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. So markets rush to safe havens as tariff clock ticks down. Everybody's reporting on this, saying that the markets are rushing to gold. Gold is still above $30.30 an ounce. They're rushing to cryptos, Forex markets, the international markets, the small cap markets, people are rushing into those because they see more development in those developing countries, and they see that companies are moving. And that's another thing too. It's going to take a while. Let's say we build back the manufacturing plants. It's still going to take 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, to get all the manufacturing plates made in the USA. And even then, we still may have foreign parts introduced here and there. So it takes a lot if you're going to be talking about protectionism, where America moves into making their own stuff. You're talking 10 to 12 years, even with a robot AI automation economy, if we truly went that way. So either way you look at it, this economy is going to be under a massive restructuring, and nothing's getting cheaper. That food has gone up by 25% every month. Every time I go to the grocery store, I get the same items, and I'm still paying $5 to $10 to $25 extra on my bill every time I go. So this is going to be happening more in other sectors: insurance and gas and retail. And vacations, will you pay more for that airline ticket to go see family, for an emergency? Everything is going up, and Wall Street continues to sink, but people are still making money on the downside, of course, short selling and all that kind of stuff. But still, it's going to be a time where we're going to be having a slowdown. So charting the global economy here, U.S. inflation picks up before tariffs. Once again, inflation is picking up here. Obviously, this is going to create more inflation. So whatever new system that we go to economically in the next 5 to 10 years, it's still going to be a system where, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. And obviously, we're going to be paying the brunt cost of this through either higher taxes, either digitally or some other type of way. There is going to be more taxes and more things levied on the middle class, lower class, just regular working Americans. And this is the problem that is going to be facing America here in the next 5 to 10 years, regardless of the administration or whatever. It's just a number game. The system that we have now, capitalism or whatever you want to call it, has reached starting to reach the end of its useful life, meaning the dollar is reaching the end of its useful life. We've had the dollar for the last, 80, 90 years, so 100-year cycles, usually when currencies start to begin to fail, either through hyperinflation, or it's possible that it can go into hyperinflation, right? And then we get a massive deflation, and then that's it, because no one has any money to buy all this junk that's going to be out there on the market. So continue to prepare, ladies and gentlemen. Stock up on the basics: food, water, clothes, security, prayer books, spiritual books for your nourishment, mental health, and we're going to be okay. So God bless you this Sunday. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Stay care, and God bless.